Hello there, and welcome back to another shallow dive with myself, deephackontech. Today we're going to take a little bit of a look at the Nix registry command. This is a nice command that allows us to maintain a registry of symbolic identifiers, which will take us to various Flake registries. So this is quite a handy feature. You'll almost certainly have interacted with this in the form of Nix packages, which is a symbolic reference direct to the NixOS Nix packages GitHub repository. So very quickly, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. The Nix registry command, if you issue list as a subcommand, it will show you your current set of registries. And each one of these is a kind of short form name, which then resolves to an actual registry. So in the case of my flake deephack flakes, you can see that that points to my tangled repo with my various Nix flakes in there. So that's a very quick example. Now, something to note is that this requires the experimental Nix command, and it also requires the experimental flakes support, because of course this is for flakes. I can demonstrate how you turn that on. That is, if you're using a flake-based configuration, which I am, you can have nix.settings, experimental features, and the two features we're using here are nix-command and flakes. So make sure that you have those turned on if you want to follow along. I think most people running NixOS these days are already on these experimental features, especially flakes, because they're so pervasive. But if you're not, that's how you would turn it on. There are also options for temporarily turning these on, but I'll leave that for now. So, something to note is that you actually have kind of three levels of definitions. You have your global definitions, your system wide definitions, and your user definitions. Now, something important to note is the global definitions are the only ones that are used when you're kind of building your system inside your kind of main configuration flake. The system and the user registries are only used at the command line if you use commands like nix shell, nix run, nix develop, and so on. So that's an important thing to note. Now, the global one, you don't usually have kind of direct control over that. That's actually coming from here. By default, if you don't try to override it, it's coming from the NixOS Flake registry repo, which is on GitHub, and we can open up this JSON, and this is a kind of definition that all NixOS machines are expected to have. And if we look over at the list that I got, you can see that global is filled with the exact same entries that we have in this JSON file. So this is kind of, global. Almost all NixOS installations will have exactly these entries, and it's covering things like NixOS hardware, NixOS search, Nix packages, and so on. So these are the things that everybody is kind of expected to have. You could override that. Actually, let me just very quickly bring up the help, because it tells us if you really, really wanted to, you could set Flake registry, and then that would allow you to override it. I guess if you had an organizational registry that you wanted to make sure all of your machines had, you would maybe do this. Your average kind of end user is not going to touch this. You've then got your system registry, and that's shared across all users at the command line. And that can also be overridden, but by default, it's going to basically derive from your configuration flake. So you can see here that I've got Nix packages, and I've added an extra definition for Nix packages master. This can be overridden as well using nix.registry as a configuration setting, although you're not so often going to do that. And then finally, you have your user-defined ones, and these are the ones that you've defined at the command line using the Nix registry command. Unless you're going to directly edit your registry JSON file, I would imagine most people are not going to do that, but if you really, really wanted to, you can go into your .config nix, and there's a registry.json. Note that the system registry is also, it's under etc nix registry.json. But yeah, again, I think generally speaking, you're going to use the command line to do this. So yeah, you have four commands. We can list, as I've just demonstrated. We can add, which allows us to create like new name and then URL, just like that. You can remove, which is kind of the same, and you can pin. And the pinning is an interesting one. Pinning means that when you reference this particular identifier, you're always going to get exactly the same hash. And that will continue to be the case until you remove the registry entry. So if you wanted to unpin, you have to actually kind of remove the registry and then add it again. And that will make it once again be kind of dynamic. So that's a nice wee example. What we can do, like I said before, like nix shell and nix run and nix develop and all these kinds of commands, they'll take the short form of these. Actually, nix flake and knit as well, which I've demonstrated in a previous video. So you can use these short forms in those kinds of commands. So let's demonstrate a complete workflow here. Let's take the wonderful lag CLI application. You can see here that this has a flake.nix in the repository. Let's say that we want to grab this and we want to add it as a registry. You might do this if you're working with a particular repository quite a lot. So let's say we're going to call it lag CLI, and let's point it. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. That's the wrong clipboard. There's the right clipboard. Let's say we want to point it here. Now, Nix URLs, they don't have the .git on the end, so we need to take that off. And we do also need to tell it that it's a Git repo, so we need to say git plus HTTPS and then point it. If we hit enter now, that should work, and that then means that we should, this is me testing this live, be able to do something like nix run lag CLI hash. And I'm just going to take whatever the default is. I actually don't know exactly what this package is again. I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure if I do the default, it's going to give me the lag CLI. Let's give this a quick run and see what it does. Nix run is kind of one of the fantastic sort of superpowers of NixOS in that you don't need to install, I'm doing quotation marks here, you don't need to install a piece of software to actually run it. You can directly run software from remote repositories and your system will just immediately build it, dump it into the Nix store, and then run it. So you can see I've not done this before. This is a very, very risky live demonstration for me to do, but I've just chosen this particular application. I just want to run it, and Nix is going to work out on my behalf what needs to be downloaded, what needs to be built, and then it will run that particular application for me. This might take a little bit of time, so I'm going to pause here and I'll bring you back once it's built. Okay, looks like we actually got done there quite quickly. That's looking good, and you can see that the lag command has been built and is ready to run. I guess I could do something like this. And oh yeah, it's going to want my authentication. Right, okay. I'm going to pause, provide that, and I'll be right back. There we go. Couldn't have you seeing all of my secrets. So yes, in any case, that's the command all up and running. So yeah, I was able to use this short form. So rather than doing something like, let me see here, do we have the whole thing here? Yeah, rather than doing something like this, which would be kind of much more annoying, we then have that short form which we can access nice and easily. If we go back to Nix registry list, we can see, yep, we've got a user registry here, which is the lag CLI. And as I said before, we can even pin that if we want to make sure that we don't get any updates. Can't find it, lag CLI, in the Flake registries. Lag CLI. Okay, that's confusing. Why is that the case? Let's have a little look here. Do I have to do that? Oh, okay. It wants me to provide the URL. Again, this is me not actually trying this before going in, but here we go. Yes, it's pinned. It's pinned a version. Oh, I guess this is basically an extra entry, and it will pin. Okay. So it's the same syntax as the add command. I needed to give a short form, which then is pinned to a specific version. The specific version will always be the current main version, or head, in effect. So that's worth knowing. And then the very last thing to demonstrate, of course, is Nix registry remove. And then we take that one out. And that should leave us with the original one that we had before. So yeah, you've got add, you've got list, you've got pin, you've got remove. And really, like I said, all it's doing is it's allowing you to, rather than typing these great big URLs, to use nice short forms. Quick reminder again, global is the only one used in the kind of system configuration scope. So if you have a flake that is configuring your entire system, system and user are used at the command line for the various Nix command line commands. So that's pretty much it. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.